fellow Toastmasters, children, honored guests, fellow team members. We are a team. This is a Toastmasters club. And whenever you have a club of people, it's a team. A family's a team. They may not feel like a team. They may not always be a good team, but they're a team. A man and wife are a team. They may not seem like they are, but they're a team. Growing up, if I had a question about math, my mother always said, ask your father. My dad's a carpenter. He built half the houses in New Jersey. He does measurements like 2x4s. I mean, ask Dad a fraction, he'll tell you. Questions about English and homework, my father would say, ask your mother. She was a reporter, Ridgewood News, Ramsey reporter. She worked for the Patterson Herald. Ask her the word questions. That's a good team, actually. It's not like they did it on purpose, but with 4 kids, it worked great. Math questions, ask Dad. English questions, ask Mom. It's a team. So who's the most important person on this team? Not telling you until the end. But you have a car. A car could almost be like a team. What's the most important part on your car? Is it the steering wheel? Is it your 4 tires? Is it the windshield wipers? Is it the gas in the tank? What's the most important part of your car? Anybody know?
Engine.
The driver. And I know these inventors of the driverless vehicles probably don't think that, but it's true. And if you think, and the engine was a good answer too, but think about it. What good is that perfect steering wheel if you run out of gas? What good are the 4 tires if one gets a flat? You're not getting too far on 3 tires. You could have full tank of gas, a great steering wheel, 4 new tires from Best Buy or whatever that place is, Mavis Tires, and it's pouring rain. If your windshield wipers don't work and you can't see where you're going, what good is it? The point is, the car works together in synergy. It's a team. All the members play an important part. Toastmasters is a team. I'm a speaker, but without an audience, what good am I? Although, if you ask my family, they'd say I could talk my way out of a paper bag. But and as an audience without a speaker, what are you doing? So we are a team. And what makes a team? Well, I worked on a trauma team for over 22 years, so I know the meaning of a team. And our common goal was to save the patient's life. Without a patient, what good's a team? Who's the most important person on that team is actually the patient, trying to save his life. We had a trauma doctor who thought he was the most important person on the team. We were also a teaching hospital in Atlantic City. That meant we had medical residents under us. They weren't allowed in trauma because that's a classified unit, but it was a teaching hospital, so we had teaching facilities. I would teach nursing students how to draw blood on an orange, so you could extract the orange juice from the orange, poke it with a needle, extract it. It's a good practice, but they didn't pass the class until they drew blood on the actual patient. But it was good practice technique. So we actually had dummies that had internal organs that the doctors could practice their surgical techniques on. So this most important doctor, who thinks he's the most important doctor, and the most important person on the trauma team, one night we simulated a dummy that needed an operation, and we called him in to operate, and he said, oh, this is funny, this is a dummy. Oh, no, you're the most important person here. We'd like you to do this operation by yourself. And if he was failing in the operation, the dummy would beep, because it was a true teaching, so if he's running out of blood, the dummy would beep. Well, we stepped back and we let him do this important operation all by himself. While he was trying to hold the artery open, he had an itch. He couldn't. If he let go of the artery, he couldn't itch. He had sterile hands. You can't go scratching your hair. And then he ran out of blood. He needed someone to go to the blood bank. There's nobody there. But he's the most important person on the team. Now he pulled the patient up too far in bed, and the oxygen tube was strangling the patient. But there was no one there to fix the wire for him. But he's the most important person on the team. So after the dummy kept beeping and the dummy actually died, then we all came in and said, well, that was great, one-man show. You're, gee, the most important person on this drama team. He learned his lesson well, too well. In fact, he was dismissed. The next night he was on call, and we called him when there was a bus accident in Atlantic City. We had over 10 injured patients, 3 fatalities. He wouldn't get out of bed. He was on call and he wouldn't answer the phone. He was too important to come in on his night on call. So, we told him to go elsewhere. He went to Philly. The point of it is teamwork, T-E-A-M. Together, everyone accomplishes more. There's not one more important person on the team than the other. The housekeeper in the hospital was just as important because he kept the floors clean and the sheets sterile for the patient that was coming in. And if he didn't do his job, we wouldn't have had a clean bed to put the patient in. And then we could all catch an infection if he didn't clean it properly when we were done. I always knew the housekeeper's name. Job was just as important as mine was. You know, everything works together on a team. And that's why Toastmasters works so well. So I said, how could I make a speech without an audience? But who the hell would want to listen to me anyway? But how would the audience have something to listen to if they didn't have a speaker? So being that I was a Ramsey High cheerleader, and this is Toastmasters Ramsey, you can't end a speech about teamwork without doing a cheer. So R-A-M-S-E-Y, go Ramsey! The most important person on the team is all of you.